my generation grew up listening to like the drug dealers, whereas these younger generations are listening to like the drug addicts.
What's up, everybody? It is Symone Titania Major, and you are back for another episode of the Indie Seed.
So yeah, it's all these.
Meyekal Coree is in the building with us. Meyekal Coree, thank you so much for coming through. How are you?
It's a pleasure. I'm fantastic. I'm fantastic. Even better than I'm here. So I'm doing great.
When did you fall in love with music?
When I fell in love with music, that's a fantastic question, man. I fell in love with music actually probably when I was really young, like 8 or 9. My cousin, who does a lot of my production right now, he's always been into, like, super into music. Had the turntables, the coffin, the mixer, everything. When he was he's a few years younger than me. He was like 13 or 14, and I was 9. And when he wasn't using it, I would jump on it. He would just let me mess with it and stuff.
He would let you mess with his
Yeah, surprisingly.
Wow.
Big cousin got love for me. Hey.
For sure.
No, so that's when I really fell in love with, like, because I was playing like vinyls and stuff and putting the needle on the table and all that stuff. So that's when it really found a space in my heart. That's when I would say I really fell in love with it, for sure.
Fell in love with it.
Yeah, just playing everything from like old school dance hall and reggae to hip hop, and everything I listen to now basically started then.
How did you cultivate your style in rap? Like, where did you find your voice at in rap music?
In the beginning, starting at like 14, I was playing travel soccer with a couple friends, and I would go to his house. Producer, he goes by Maroon Rhythms. I don't know if you guys have heard of him.
Okay.
Local as well. I would link up with him and another friend of mine before practice. We'd just be kicking it, and that was like his beginning of his music journey. So he was just like building on, I don't even know what programs he was using, just like making beats here and there. We would just record covers of like Nuck If You Buck and all the stuff that was out when we were like 14, and we would just be writing like before practice, after practice, before games and tournaments and whatnot. We'd just be messing around. That's when I really got into like finding my voice in like hip hop, I guess.
Right.
Because at the time like I mentioned, when I was playing with my cousin stuff, he had like DMX and all types of stuff. So growing up, I was just listening to DMX. I was like 9, 10 years old, listening to DMX, Wu-Tang, all that stuff, you know. And that's when I was like, I can do this. Like, I felt the energy, and it would just kind of come naturally when I was 14 or so, and I started recording initially. So that's when like I found my voice in hip hop, but I knew I had a lot of growing and learning to do, because it was like what I was writing wasn't me.
Right.
So I was like, I would love to like put this stuff out, but I'm not that person that you hear rapping there. So
okay. So what is your what is your process like when you're writing your music? How do you, like what do you pull from? Is it experiences that you have, or is it like what is that process look
so
like
for me, I'm a really slow writer, and it's like one of my personal downsides for myself that I feel like I need to work on, because it's like a slow process, and I know I can get so much more out, but where I pull it from, I'm into like discovering like the truth of like existence and life. All the crazy weird stuff that exists that we don't understand is what like I'm kind of chasing. So like, I try to consciously deliver that back. So I draw from like experiences and things that happen in life that make me like question things,
Right.
So I want to deliver that to people that may not see things the way I see things, or try to reveal it in a sense. So that's where I take that inspiration, because I want you guys, not you guys specifically, but people that listen to my music to open their eyes and minds and hearts and be like, yo, there's so much more out there that we don't understand.
Absolutely.
Just take a second and look at it a little differently.
So it kind of seems like in your music you have almost like this mission and like this purpose
big
for
time.
writing.
That's kind of why I stuck with it. Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. So when people listen to your music, you want them to be able to step away and think about, how they're treating others and how they're treating their bodies,
and the earth and
everything.
all that. Exactly.
I get that.
Exactly. So I mean, some songs are more channeled towards that. Some songs are just hip hop and just going off on a tangent. I just started writing one day. I was like, yo, I gotta put this out. Yeah, exactly. Cool. So definitely a mission behind it. I like that you got that in there, because that's what I told myself initially. Like when I took on the journey, I was like, I'm on a mission, and I'm not stopping until like the mission's complete. Type.
Wow. So would you say that is your mission? I know that now we've identified that there's a mission for your listeners, but do you have like a end-all goal for yourself? Like at what point in your life can you sit back on your couch and say, okay, I'm content, I'm happy with what I did? Like, what would be your goal? What would be your mission?
So like a lot of the stuff I do in this life, like I consciously in a way, or unconsciously, subconsciously, I think it translates into a possible like next life and future for my soul. So like what I'm doing here now is trying to prep that for whatever comes later, if that makes sense.
It does.
So like I don't even know if there's ever gonna be a point in my life where I can just sit back and be like, I'm good.
Do you have anything that you pretty much are just like, I can't handle that, I need a team to take care of this aspect for me, like marketing or booking or...
So I feel like all that goes in hand, and my trouble is that I'm like, I don't want to call it a lone wolf because that just sounds weird, but as much as I want to like open up my circle and like let other people in, I also don't want to open up my circle. Like you pick up on energies, and like unless you're around like-minded energies and people like consistently,
For sure.
I don't know, I've just heard so many experiences of people getting screwed over, and like I just feel like I'd rather avoid any of that. So I definitely need help on the marketing side. That's a tough side, especially with all the computer generated streams and all this nonsense that goes on in the music industry. Like how do you compete with that?
Yeah.
And the bookings, I was actually right before Corona started, like in the middle of setting up a solo show, like November, December, and something told me to push it off a little bit. So I pushed it off a little bit, and Corona came. But I mean, hey, it might just help me to develop
Exactly.
a little more. I just put a project out in September, so that's kind of what it was for.
Oh. So when it comes to your booking experiences, are you saying, hey, I have this pocket of finances that I want to take from my own money and go to a location, rent it out, and put on a show? Or are you saying, hey, I need a booking agent? How do I,
So
like what is that process?
Yeah,
for
that's
you?
the part that I haven't figured out, like finding a booking agent or like a talent agency or anything like that. I've kind of just done it offhand. Like my girlfriend's really into marketing, and like she's a creative
That's
herself.
your team right there.
Yeah, she is my team. She's my team, but I also don't want to slow her down on her stuff too,
For sure.
because I know she's trying to get a ton of money, make her stuff happen, you know.
Yes.
So she definitely does help me, big time. She's
Beautiful.
been part of everything this whole time. So I thank her. But the booking agent part is the part I haven't really figured out. So it's essentially been like, okay, my money, and from ticket sales, we'll see what we paid the bar, and so on and so forth. So trying to learn that is a really big step.
Now, you briefly spoke about streams and computer generating streams and things like that. What is your preference? Streams, or do you prefer to sell a full-on album? So when you're putting out a new project, are you putting it on Spotify? Are you saying, hey, I'm going to have a CD, or I'm going to put it on Bandcamp? Like, what is...
So everything that I have right now there's only a few songs that I have that I'd say are on SoundCloud without like an actual
SoundCloud.
project basis behind them. So I have 2 projects out. When I dropped in, what year are we in? 2020. When I dropped in 2018, February of 2018, and then the second one I dropped in September of 2019.
Okay.
Majority of everything on Spotify, Apple, Tidal, Amazon, and all that. So we definitely focus on just getting that on the platform so I can reap some benefit off of it. I don't really do singles. Like everything kind of has a project.
Wow.
So I might want, like leading up to the project, it's not a big project. They're usually like 6 to 8, 9 songs,
Okay.
little EPs.
In your EPs, are you looking to tell a story from beginning to end, or is it kind of sporadic? Like, I wrote this song and it goes well with the next song coming up, so I'm going to put it in there.
It's
Or is it like a full
sporadic.
story?
I
It's
definitely
sporadic.
say it's sporadic, but the story is my story. They won't necessarily be in a specific order,
Right.
but like all the songs are generated by like my daily life,
Got
and
it.
like where I'm at that period of my life and why I'm writing this. So I would feel like my story's just embedded in there, like on the undertone, but it's not necessarily like a direct, like how Nas was like a storyteller,
Right.
and Slick Rick and all that would have an actual story with characters and story development and all
Right.
that. Nah, not me.
Wow. Do you find that it is the responsibility for artists to talk about the current times and put it in their music? Do you think they have that responsibility to do that?
Yes and no. Yes, because as a human, I feel like you should be aware and consciously aware of what you're doing and what you're putting out and the people around you, like from a spirit and soul aspect as well. But on the other hand, I'm also like, be free, be you, like do what you want to do. As long as you're not tearing people down and bringing them down with you. Like, because a lot of these artists, they'll say and do things that they don't actually partake in.
Right.
And that infuriates me in a sense, because I have 2 younger brothers, and I would hear the stuff that they're listening to, and I'm just like, yo, what are they saying here? My generation grew up listening to like the drug dealers,
Right.
whereas these younger generations are listening to like the drug addicts. It sucks. So like I'm still here on that mission to like kind of combat that.
Right, absolutely.
But
You're fighting
in the
for
same
it.
sense,
Absolutely.
you know,
That's beautiful.
find my purpose. What up, y'all? Meyekal Coree, NDC. Thank you so much for having me. You can find me on all streaming platforms: Spotify, Apple, Google, Tidal, all that. SoundCloud as well at Meyekal Coree, Meyekal space Coree. Same thing with the Instagram, Twitter, all that. Go check it out. Run up them streams, baby.
My name is Symone Titania Major, and you have been watching the NDC. Shout out to Context of a Generation for producing the NDC, and thank y'all so much for tuning in again. I can't wait to see you, and make sure you go listen to Meyekal Coree because the music is fire and it's on Spotify.
Hey.
I love y'all. I appreciate you. Stay blessed. NDC. So that was the NDC. If you like what you saw and you want to be a partner, or if you want to collaborate with us, even if you're an artist and you want to submit your work, check out our website, contextofageneration.org, or go ahead and submit an email to us at submit@contextofageneration.org. And for all the artists, make sure you put your name, your social media handles, and attach some of your work as well. And for those who are interested in being a partner or collaborating, please email us and we would love to reach back out. Peace. That was the NDC. Thank you.